Hey, Christopher, why do I look like David Letterman about to lead his bowling tournament team?
I don't know. I thought you looked like David Letterman about to deliver some packages to some good little boys and girls on Christmas night.
What night? I couldn't hear what you're saying.
Christmas! You old coot?
Yeah, your name's Christopher. I know.
Just start the show.
Okay. It's past my bedtime anyways.
Ladies and gentlemen,
good evening. This is what's happening in...
That's the wrong intro video.
Would you play the right video, you old man?
Jeez. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh.
What's going on, everyone? We are the Cinefanatics. This is the tagline. My name's Robert Adams.
My name's Chris Adams.
I went and saw them Duran boys last night, and they do some good music. Good Lord.
It's
really
hilarious.
This old man thing here.
Y'all really just got insight into what this show will look like in about, what time is it?
2 weeks.
45 years.
2 weeks. That's right.
Well, 2 weeks for you, 45 years for me.
Yeah. Oh, good Lord. Whew. Well, that was fun. Good night, everyone. I think it's time for my my sleep now. So, anyways, yeah, this is the tagline.
You have sleep like the hobbits eat food. When's 11sies?
At 11. Duh.
Yeah. 11 o'clock sleep, and then you've got second lunch sleep.
What's those like cartoons where I think it's like Garfield, like he gets up out of bed in the morning, goes and does something like real quick, like opens the fridge and eats some food and then turns around and goes right back to bed. That's me. If I had the freedom to actually do that. I mean, I kind of do, but anyways. Woo, welcome to YouTube, y'all. YouTube things. Let's get those knocked out. Y'all got any questions, comments, issues, complaints? Streamlabs.com/Cinefanatics. I will go ahead and I didn't discuss this with you earlier, but we'll make a slight change to this tonight. Yeah, any donations to our Streamlabs tonight are going to go to Late to the Party to help Robert with his hospital bills. I've already donated to them, but I would love to give more. So if y'all would like to donate, I would love to send those donations to Late to the Party to help them out. Poor Robert's been like in and out of the hospital and then back into the hospital. So thoughts and prayers go with Robert. Hopefully he comes out of this ordeal. Also, Garth is also back in the hospital again. So thoughts and feelings with him as well. Make sure he gets better and gets back out. So yeah. Garfield's bed is a lasagna pan. Yeah, I like that.
Like I've had a hard time this week because like I've been sick. I'm still a little congested. Still have like sore throat. I'm sucking on a cough drop right now, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, I can't do anything. I feel bad. I'm sick. And then like we've got these friends who have been in the hospital. I'm like, I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm all right. Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna go do a quick run around the block real quick. I'll be right back.
I'm just gonna drop. I'm gonna drop right. I'm gonna do like 80 push-ups right now. Here we go.
Yeah. I know the weird one for me, not that I'm trying to compare to anything that anyone else is going through, but the weird one.
This ain't about you. No.
Yeah, I know. That's not what I'm doing here. The weird thing is like the beginning of this year, I had like some issues with my left eye. Couldn't quite figure out what it was. It just hurt, was painful. And now, as of Monday night, the night before the concert that I was going to, developed a really nice like little sty on my eye. We really can't see it here, but developed a sty, and I'm like, great, this is going to be all kinds of painful, whatever. That was Monday night. We are now at Wednesday night. It looks terrible. Doesn't hurt at all. Really weird. Like at no time has there actually been any pain in my eye this time. So
basically we have the tier list here of folks that we know and care about in the hospital suffering through some like really legitimate hard stuff. me, who's not in the hospital, but I've been dealing with some sickness, just hanging out here. And then you, who you look weird.
Pretty much, yeah. And that was before I grew the sty. But yeah. Anyways. Other people being ill doesn't negate your couch. Hydrate. That's true. Also, since we're sending out well wishes, I would say also well wishes to everyone in northeastern Canada having to deal with those wildfires. All I've seen all day today are images of the smoke coming into New York City, which is insane. And then, yeah, thanks to Lego, I now equate that with Night of the Comet. So thanks, Lego. But yeah, that's crazy. I know here in Austin, like years ago, probably like about 10 years or so, maybe just under 10 years, we had like all those like wildfires out in Bastrop, which is a city like right outside of Austin. And then the
city,
it's a little town. It's now a small city. It's where primarily like a lot of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre houses and gas station, they're all out in Bastrop. But like the winds blew all the smoke from those fires into Austin. And at the time I was going to community college downtown Austin. So that day, the whole area was just filled with smoke. The whole city smelled like a campfire, which is cool for like the first 5 minutes. You're like, oh, it smells so nice. I need some smoked beef or like brisket. Give me some ribs, some sausage. Like I'm hungry. And then after 5 minutes, you're like, okay, this smell can go away now. I'm tired of smelling it.
It smells so good. The smell of people's houses burned down.
Yeah. But it was that campfire smell that we all enjoy until you don't enjoy it anymore. But yeah. So yeah, I understand like the city of New York. It's got to be hard to be breathing there right now. So
yeah, everyone's wearing masks again, and as far as I can tell, no one's giving anyone any trouble for wearing masks this time.
I want to see a video of that. I want to see a video of someone like, stop wearing the mask. You look stupid, dude. There's like smoke in the air. You notice how most people. Yeah, you notice how most people don't smoke cigarettes too much anymore. Like cigarette usage has been on the decline. I know vaping's going up, but like I feel like I've seen cigarette smoking decline lately.
We also just don't get out that often.
I also don't leave my apartment, and I don't smoke anymore. So yeah, I don't see it ever.
There you
go. Anyways, other YouTube things, patreon.com/cinefanatics. If you would like to hop on our Patreon, I believe, didn't we said like dates before for Patreon stuff. I know the Wednesday before the 30th, we are doing the movie trivia hangout. Which I believe for that one we're going to do Harrison Ford trivia.
I think so.
That sounds like fun.
Sounds good.
So I'll do a theme of Harrison Ford trivia. So if you would like to join us for that, that will be was that Wednesday the 27th?
8th.
The 28th. Apparently I don't know dates. So that'll be Wednesday the 28th after Tagline. We'll do that hangout. And then Wednesday the 21st. You want to do that 21st? We'll do the movie watch along, and I'm not sure what movie we'll do yet, but we'll figure.
I currently have no problem with that, unless you wanted to do next week and give a break between them. But I don't really care.
Yeah, we'll make that announcement shortly on the Discord. Or
let's just do the 21st, honestly, because I don't want to have to make people wait a week just to find out we're going to do it immediately after Tagline next week. So
yeah, that's a good call. Anyway, so yeah, that is what's coming up as far as Patreon goes. Upcoming shows tomorrow evening will be our spoiler-free review of Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Actually, looking forward to this. I've been hearing a lot of good things. A lot of people are saying that like this is closer to in the vein of Bumblebee than it is the previous Michael Bay Transformers, which is good. So looking forward to this. I know there are spoilers about stuff in this movie that are out and about, so please use caution when on the internet. Don't spoil yourself. I am already spoiled. Chris is not. So please use some caution when dancing around on Twitter or whatever. So, anyways, and then
speaking of dancing and Transformers, Optimus Prime is coming to Fortnite.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Optimus Prime with doing the emotes. Now I'm picturing, because I know my Fortnite has the Rickroll dance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to see Optimus Prime do that. That would be funny.
I want to see Optimus Prime drop it and twerk.
Or Optimus Prime doing the dance from Scrubs, which I guess is like the default dance on Fortnite. So
yeah,
that'll be funny. What else do we have coming up? Oh yeah. The end of this month, on June 30th, we will be doing the marquee. We are going to be tier ranking Harrison Ford action and sci-fi movies. Yes, that's right. One of our favorite actors, Harrison Ford.
I made some pancakes if y'all want some.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Fuck yeah, I want some pancakes.
Man is a national treasure right there.
God, I love that clip so much.
Fuck yeah, I want some pancakes. It's so great.
Shrinking, good show, guys. You should watch it.
Anyways, so that is coming up June 30th. And I think we got to finalize a couple other things with the guests, and then we should have that listing of Harrison Ford movies posted up on Discord.
Yeah, we got to send the list to the guests. Make sure the guests are good with the list. Once they're good with the list, then y'all will be good with the list.
Yep. And then one more thing before we get started. I forgot to turn on the AC, and it is bloody hot in here. Give me 1 second.
I'm fine. I don't know what he's talking about. And
really
it's great. It's great also while he's doing that, because the AC temperature thing, the thermometer is right outside of his door, so I don't have to vamp for that long.
Yep. Lego's like, he's not the national treasure. By the way, we didn't do a reaction to it, but if y'all haven't seen that Sympathy for the Devil trailer that just came out today, oh my god. It looks like that movie Collateral with Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise. Only instead of Tom Cruise, it's Nicolas Cage, and I guess he's playing the devil. But it looks like it's basically the same kind of storyline. He's like kidnapping Joel Kinnaman, playing the Jamie Foxx role, and making him go like on quests or whatever, while Joel Kinnaman's trying to quickly get to the hospital because his wife is giving birth to their kid.
Was the song in the trailer?
No, which that's a missed opportunity. Like, why don't you stick the song "Sympathy for the Devil" in the trailer? It'll probably be in the movie.
I don't know. I don't know how you would call that movie that title and not put that song by the same title in that movie.
Yeah.
It's about as egregious as a mess up as not putting I'm a Barbie Girl in
the Barbie Girl song in the Barbie movie. Yeah, pretty much. Movies watched for this past week. We're going to talk about that later because that kind of feeds into the main topic for tonight. So we'll talk about that in a little while. In the meantime, let's get to some movie news. I should play like the other video now, just, never mind.
Ladies and gentlemen,
good evening. This is what's happening in your world tonight.
We apologize for the interruption.
Back to you.
No, you should not play the other video because you're young enough to know better this time. You were old before.
Not judging by my concert choices. Duran Duran with opening guest Chic. Yeah. Good concert. Enjoyed it. Except the 50-something-year-old trio of women behind me that would just woo their asses off every second they got and would not shut up. Oh. Anyways, concert etiquette is for another live stream.
Anyway, guys, so here's your box office for this week.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Listen.
Trying to.
It's Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse is number one. Across the Spider-Verse, guys. How are we? Is anybody surprised by this? Is anybody actually surprised? Let's be honest. Is anybody surprised by this at all? No. Yeah, I didn't think so either. I think we all knew this was coming. Okay, so look, domestic box office for this weekend, 120.6 million. That's insane.
120.6
million. Yeah, worldwide 236.6 million.
Do you know what the estimates were? Does it say like what the estimated was?
I believe under that. It does not say what the estimate was. But
that's cool though.
But yeah, I mean, we're looking at almost $250 million worldwide in the first weekend. So the only thing that's got me saying that won't hit $1 billion is just the amount of competition that's coming up against it.
This is a stacked month.
If there was only like one other, if it was just Transformers coming out this month and it was coming out in like 2 weeks instead of this week, then I would say Spider-Verse hits $1 billion. But Transformers, Flash, Indiana Jones, and then a couple other releases, I think, are going to take away from Spider-Verse. But it's still going to have some huge spider legs because that thing is really good and people are going to be going and seeing it multiple times. In fact, I know there's already people who are like, I'm going for my 4th time.
Yeah. Just because we said this like in the review, this movie is going to lend itself to massive amounts of repeated viewings, mainly because people are, well, some of this you won't be able to do in a theater, but mainly because people are going to want to pause and look around at all like the little spider people all over the screen constantly. There are so many Easter eggs. I think just this one movie alone will give new rock stars content for like the rest of the year easily. I think they've already pumped out like 5 different videos talking about different aspects of this one movie. So
they've released, I think, 2 videos specifically about finding like over 50 Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And 50 things going on in the scene.
And then they keep releasing more going, oh, we found some more Easter eggs. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, there's a ton of stuff in there. So it is going to lend itself to a lot of repeat viewings. I do like Cutter's question here. Does Transformers beat Spider-Verse this weekend? I don't know, because they are almost playing to the exact same audience, the same kind of demographic. Spider-Verse, a little bit more kid family friendly than Transformers, I would say.
It's just because Spider-Verse is PG, Transformers is going to be PG-13.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, the topics that they talk about in Spider-Verse, I think, are more higher. I don't think the main storyline talking about all these parallel universes and the canon events and everything that happens in Spider-Verse, I don't think that's going to necessarily reach a kid audience as well as it would the audience that is the demographic for Transformers.
No, kids are just going and loving it because they get to see a bunch of Spider-Mans flipping around.
Yeah, and then as the kids get older, they'll start picking up on the actual storyline of it, and they're like, "Oh, okay, this movie's really good." Like they'll understand it a lot more instead of "ooh, flashy colors." Not saying kids are dumb, but I mean, anyways.
I think Nerd is right. They might be very close to the same box office total this weekend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going into this weekend, I think Transformers will probably open a little bit higher, but not by much. It's going to be a very, very slim margin. There's not going to be a huge drop off for Spider-Verse this weekend. Yeah. It's everybody who went this last weekend saying, yo, this movie's actually really good. You saw the first one, you need to go see this movie. And all those people are going to be like, all right, fine, we'll go see the movie. So I think it's going to be really close.
Yeah. I will be surprised, and I'll probably be really happy if Spider-Verse takes number 1 again over Transformers. But
I mean, I wouldn't be sad.
I agree. There's a slight chance I think Transformers might take it this next weekend.
Mm-hmm. I think the big thing you got to remember also is because the last Transformers movie we had was actually good with Bumblebee. And that's kind of that's hopefully the high they are hoping to ride off of with the next movie.
But I mean, even still, like both of us enjoyed Bumblebee. I just rewatched it again the other night, and it's still a really good movie and a good Transformers movie on top of that. But when they announced this movie was coming out, even though I liked Bumblebee, my immediate response was another one. Like I didn't think of Bumblebee. I thought back to the Transformers franchise as a whole, and so That's what I'm thinking. A lot of people are probably thinking and not riding completely off of Bumblebee.
So we'll see. We'll see. I think there's a good chance that Transformers. I mean, Transformers also is just a property that people know, have seen many times in the theaters, and are going, another one of those movies. All right. Well, we got some time this weekend. Let's go watch a giant robot fighting movie.
Yeah.
They always get butts in seats, even if the movies aren't great. So there's that too. So number 1, Spider-Verse this week. Number 2, Little Mermaid. Not a surprise. Movie's also doing fantastic. Made another 41 million, so had a little over a 50% drop off, which, that's normal. That's to be expected. Still sitting at almost 187 million domestically. I think that movie's actually doing pretty solid worldwide. Yeah, a little over 330 million worldwide.
So that movie is competing with Spider-Verse for that same audience.
Yeah. I will say this much. Of all the more recent live action Disney remakes to hit theaters, like within the last, 5 to 10 years, that's one that probably deserved to actually hit the billion mark over some others, say like Lion King. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to hit that billion mark. I don't. I think in week 2, it's only sitting at 300 and something million worldwide. I don't think it's going to hit that billion. I think it'll hit maybe at most like 700 something million, and that's if it holds on to legs with all the coming competition hitting the box office. So we'll see. That might be even generous at this point. Here's the interesting one. Number 3, a lot higher than I thought it was going to be when it made its debut. I thought it was going to be a little bit lower, especially based off of your review. It's The Boogeyman. Boogeyman opening at number 3 in the box office.
Yeah, with how much?
Wait, that's also ran by Walt Disney.
Yes,
I guess that was.
It was a 20th Century Studios.
Got it. Yeah. It made 12.3 million in the box office. So there's a large discrepancy between Spider-Verse's opening numbers and Boogeyman's opening numbers. But again, it's probably a solidly low budget horror movie. So
yeah, like your biggest star in that is
Dalsmatian.
No, I mean he's one of probably the bigger ones, but what's his face from Air, the agent in Air?
Oh, Chris Messina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason I would say that movie is going to do well is because, kind of like what I said in the review and what I've seen a lot of other people say now that the movie's out, that movie caters to people who don't like horror movies. If you are not a horror movie fan, you would like to kind of like dip your toes into the horror movie waters, that is a good movie for you to start off with. There's no blood, there's no gore, it's dark, and there's jump scares. It's a simple plot. It's easy to follow.
That being said, you should still watch Get Out.
Yeah. But I think that's what's going to contribute to it being higher up. It's writing off of the fact it's a PG-13 horror. It is based off a Stephen King story. So even that alone is going to be what helps sell it. So just if you're a horror movie fan, stay away. I've seen quite a few people who are horror movie fans. I've seen people who are not critics who are not typically horror movie fans praise The Boogeyman, and I've seen critics who are horror movie fans like this is not it. Cody Leach, I watched his review for it, and he was almost word for word what I said. If you're not a horror movie fan, this movie's going to be great for you. If you are a horror movie fan, this isn't going to cut it. And he almost said it exactly verbatim that I did in my review. So
yeah. So anyway, opening at number 3, pretty good opening, I think, for that movie. Probably it's going to fall out of the top 10 probably pretty quickly.
Like next weekend, it's going to plummet. It will nosedive.
Excuse me. Sorry. Number 4, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Number 5, we've got Fast X. Number 6, we've got the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So again, we're holding on to that Chris Pratt, Vin Diesel.
Row.
Chris Pratt. Oh, they actually shifted around a little bit. Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 went back over Fast X.
Mm-hmm.
Fast X was 2 and Guardians was 3, and then they swapped with the 4 and 5. Interesting. There you go. So anyway, yeah, Super Mario Brothers at 6. 7, we've got About My Father. Number 8, we got The Machine. Number 9, You Hurt My Feelings. And then number 10 is Kandahar.
I still want to see The Machine, but now at this point, I'll probably just wait for The Machine to be available streaming. I do want to see it, but
It's only been out for 2 weeks.
I know, but time is a fickle mistress. Okay, I can't.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't have time to watch a movie. It's that I don't have time to drive and plan and work around the movie theater schedule.
It's that you don't have time to mentally prepare yourself to go see a movie.
Yeah. Other than the ones that I know we are going to see, like Spider-Verse or Transformers.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the top 10. Looking pretty solid. We'll see this next week where Spider-Verse and Transformers kind of land with each other. I think it's going to be kind of interesting.
So that's looking pretty solid. What else is looking pretty?
The color pink.
I literally go nowhere without them.
You know, here's the thing. I said next week I was going to get the new intro done because there was a new trailer that was released. And you know what? Gosh darn it, I've been sick. Still kind of sick. Still coughing here. Still having to mute my mic while I'm live. So there's no new intro yet for Barbie Watch. It's coming, though. That's why I had the video editing up on this computer. I was wondering why I had that program pulled up on this computer over here. There you go. Look at that. Again, there was a lot of news that dropped around the time with the new trailer, and we did not cover, gosh darn it, most of it last week. So we're going to cover a little bit more this week. I'm kind of spreading it out just because the Barbie news is, it's like pulling teeth sometimes for me to find something that's worth mentioning without making a joke. So let's talk about that album, because we all know that album was released, or the all the artists that are on the album. We got all that information. So let's take a look at this album real quick. We don't have the image to pull up, but I'm just going to read off. Let's play a fun game, actually. I'm going to read off all the artists that are announced on here. And we're going to see how many I recognize versus how many he recognizes.
So we're playing into the fact that we're old. So keep in mind, for the most part, I have not listened to any new music since like 2012.
He went to a Duran Duran concert, guys.
Okay, so in all seriousness, total transparency, one of the bands that opened for Duran Duran last night was Bastille. I only know one song from them, and it was because that one song played all the time at the retail store that I was working at that time when that song came out. And it's actually a really good song. It's their song Pompeii. So if you're familiar with Bastille, or if you know the song,
we know who Bastille is. Yes, you old man. We got it.
That was the only song I knew, and it was their last song. And so I'm sitting through like 8 songs that I don't know, and then the one song that I do, and that one song was fantastic. Yes, nerd. Bastille and Chic open for Duran Duran. It is fantastic. Yeah. You can actually look up like Duran Duran live Austin, and someone like on the front row filmed like a bunch of videos of the concert last night. So I've been enjoying his content a lot over the past 24 hours.
Anyway, so all the Duran Duran stuff aside, I was really just throwing it out there as a joke to say you're old. What we're doing right now is average age millennial versus very elder millennial.
If not very young Generation X. Somewhere in there, depending on which BuzzFeed
you're a millennial.
article you're reading.
You need to get over this. You're a millennial. You're just about as old as millennials get.
I've seen plenty of material that says I'm Gen X, so whatever. That's why I'm leaving it the joke. Whatever BuzzFeed article.
You're just holding on. The copium is high right now. The copium is high. You're just holding on as much as possible. Look, you are millennial. Someday you'll have to accept it. Maybe when we're all in
never
60s, it won't be that big. honestly, let's be honest. When we're in our 50s and 60s, people will still be saying those darn millennials and their things. Like, we haven't had millennial generation in like 40 years. What are you talking about?
It's gonna be funny.
God, we're already moving on past Gen Z. I don't know what's going on right now. Anyway, let's look at some of these artists. Let's see how many I recognize versus how many you recognize. Keep track on your fingers how many you recognize, because I know there's more than 10 here, but you're not going to have to count more than that. So, all right, here we go.
One hand.
Ava Max. Charlie XCX.
Now,
no, stop. Let me go through this, and we'll
wait.
go through. No, hold on. Let me go through all these, and then we'll talk about it at the end.
Well, I want to clarify real quick. Is this I know who this artist is versus I know some of their songs?
Have you heard of the artist?
Well, like Charlie XCX, yes,
Have
I
you
know
heard
who
of
that
them?
is.
Have you heard of the artist?
I've heard of her, yes.
Okay, we're going based off have you heard of them, because I can hear of artists and not really remember what songs that are attributed to them. Anyway, starting from the top, here we go. Ava Max, Charlie XCX, Dominic Fike, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, Dua Lipa, 50/50. I'm guessing that's Gail. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a G, not a C. Okay. Yeah. Gail. Haim. Ice Spice. Callie. Carol G. Khalid. Lizzo. Nicki Minaj. Pink Pantheress.
What?
Ryan Gosling. That's a free space. Tame Impala and the Kid Leroy. And apparently there's more to be announced later. Music is produced by Mark Ronson, so there's another one for you if you want it.
Okay.
What's your number?
So if we're going to go completely based off of like what songs do I know from him, the only one that I know a song off the top of my head is that Charlie XCX. She was in that fancy song with Iggy Azalea. The music video was like Clueless. That's it. That you say Charlie XCX and I get that song, that fancy song stuck in my head. That's it. I don't know any songs by any of these artists off the top of my head. Like there's songs I'm familiar with. Like Nicki Minaj did that Anaconda song, I think.
You've heard of Nicki Minaj's songs before.
But yeah, so some of these like Lizzo, I know who Lizzo is. I have heard of Lizzo. I think she does that 100% that bitch or whatever.
You've heard a Lizzo song before. I guarantee you.
I don't recognize like right off the bat. So if we're gonna go based off of artists that I've heard of before, I've heard of Lizzo, I've heard of Dua Lipa, Nicki Minaj, Charlie XCX. I'm not gonna count Ryan Gosling because I think that's more of just a vocal, probably a thing, him talking. Tame Impala,
album. I guess he's singing a song.
Tame Impala, I've heard of before, briefly. Haim is that group of the three sisters where the younger sister was in that Licorice Pizza movie.
Yeah.
Kid Leroy, y'all talk about him having something to do with Fortnite like all the time. So
he was in. They made him a skin in Fortnite and brought some of his music in.
Khaled is that DJ dude that sucks at Hot Ones.
I'm pretty sure that's not DJ Khaled. Otherwise,
it's asking for another one.
I'm pretty sure it would say DJ Khaled. Plus, it's also spelled differently.
Wait, so there's two Khaled?
I'm pretty sure that's Khalid. Someone in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
All right. I don't know anybody else. Pink Pantheress, Gail, Ava Max, or 50/50. I have no idea who any of those people are.
Well, I'm counting Ryan Gosling. I got 10. So
yeah.
Charlie XCX. Yep. Dua Lipa. Yep. Haim. Ice Spice. Lizzo, Nicki Minaj, obviously. Ryan Gosling, Tame Impala, I've heard of. I don't know Tame Impala's music, but I've heard of. Kid Leroy. A few of his songs are actually pretty decent. And then, of course, we've all heard of Mark Ronson.
Yeah, because he does that song with, what's his face?
Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
He's also a very popular music producer, so.
Yeah. And then there is a song on there. I guess it's the Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice that also, I'm guessing it's using the I'm a Barbie Girl song from Aqua. So they're also crediting Aqua on the soundtrack. So that's going to be like as close as we get to the I'm a Barbie Girl song being in the Barbie movie.
Regardless, so at the end of the day, what we're saying is we're not 100% in tune with the music that the kiddos are listening to nowadays.
Well done.
But you know, I still see folks like Lizzo on here, and you know, I can't help but thinking it's about damn time.
I literally go nowhere without them.
Anyways.
Interesting looking album. Music's going to be interesting. There's your Barbie watch.
Yeah. Anyways, movie news. So a couple of movie news stories on here. First one right out the bat, Bird Box apparently is getting a sequel that comes out next month. Bird Box Barcelona. This is the same classic Bird Box story that you all know and love, judging by Netflix's numbers of how much y'all watched that movie. We're now going to see basically the same story, just in España. So we're going to see what it's like overseas in Spain of all places, and yeah, that should be interesting. I don't know. The movie has a lot of mixed reactions. Obviously my brother absolutely hates it. I was like, it had some interesting ideas, but I don't think it doesn't really nail what I think it's trying to do. So question on this, because I would put Bird Box into the same kind of a category of somewhat horror movies like A Quiet Place. So Bird Box, obviously, they're not allowed to see. They got to wear masks over their eyes. And Quiet Place, yeah, tell us how you feel with your eyes. Quiet Place is all about sound. So I feel like I'm conflicted on this, that this next movie,
I'm not conflicted at all.
I know you have no interest in it at all. What I'm conflicted about is I think that the only way they could possibly make Bird Box better is by giving us like the actual background. What is actually happening? What is the origin of this phenomenon that's happening? But at the same time, I'm also thinking that will just probably be something like stupid and terrible. And yeah, so they're probably going to ruin it if they show the origin, the story of what's causing the whole issue. So I kind of like, I want to see that, but I don't want to see it at the same time. And like, I don't know. I'll just watch the movie with like a blindfold on, I guess. Just listen to it. You have no interest in it. Yes, we know.
I'm ashamed. Let me backtrack here. So, okay. Netflix saw that this was one of the most watched movies on their platform. It was holding that number one spot of like the most watched Netflix original movie on their platform until Red Notice came out, which it's not much better, but you know. I'm ashamed that one of those numbers that Netflix read and saw to inform them that they should make a sequel is my viewing of Bird Box. I took part in telling Netflix, yes, you should absolutely make a sequel to this movie. And that is one of, if not the biggest regret of my life.
Out of how many years have you been alive on this planet?
33.
Your biggest regret?
Yeah, out of 33 years, my biggest regret in life is having seen Bird Box and telling Netflix, hey, this movie should have a sequel. because good Lord, that is literally it. I like no hyperbole. That is the worst movie I've ever watched front to back. I've watched worse movies, but I've stopped them. I've ended those movies and haven't continued them. I stopped them after 10, 20, 30 minutes. Bird Box is the worst movie I've seen from top to bottom.
What about The Room?
I've seen The Room multiple times.
And so The Room is a better movie than Bird Box, in your opinion?
Absolutely. Look, here's the thing. The Room at least is entertaining, even if it didn't mean to be, or at least not entertaining in the way it meant to be. Yeah. Bird Box it's a turd box. It's a nothing movie. It's a nothing movie made with nothing parts to create a nothing story. It's nothing.
But it has fellow Austinite Sandy B in it.
You know, I'm glad she got the paycheck. It's also got Vivian Lyra Blair.
Oh, yeah. She is the little girl in that.
She was a girl.
It's got a fantastic cast. There's a lot of good actors in that. Just all horribly squandered.
Just every single one of them horribly squandered because, good Lord, that movie just sucked. Yeah, no, I will not be watching this sequel. Not even to review it. I don't care. I don't care. I don't want Netflix to think that they should make a third one. If this one even turns out to be good, damn, sorry. You should have made the first one good. I don't care.
Anyways.
I'll watch Paw Patrol before I watch Bird Box again.
Those of y'all that are veterans of this channel that have been watching us for a while know that's some strong words right there. So,
you know what? That actually comes across as a joke. It does. But legitimately, I will watch a Paw Patrol movie before I watch Bird Box.
Bird Box.
Like, jokes aside, like I actually have no problem with Paw Patrol. In that regard, I will absolutely watch a Paw Patrol movie before I watch Bird Box or any related Bird Box properties.
Yeah. So I don't know if Chris did. I have not seen the Expendables 4 trailer that dropped today.
I don't care about that.
That's the thing. Like Expendables was cool of an idea that we're just gonna pretty much gather like every 80s and 90s big name action star all together. And that was a cool concept, but now I think it's kind of like outgrown that concept now. Like I really don't care about seeing all these guys together again, type of thing. Just I don't know. The first two movies were interesting, but after that, I can't remember. I don't even know if I've seen the third one.
No, not because it's a horror movie. I actually don't care about that. I don't mind those kinds of horror movies, like A Quiet Place. Quiet Place is doing that kind of genre of horror movie correctly. Quiet Place is great.
Thriller. It's more thriller than it is horror.
Yeah. Bird Box, not good. It's just a bad movie. I think it's just a bad movie, which is funny because I have friends who, you know, when I say Bird Box is a bad movie, they're like, we can't trust your taste in movies at all. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about you. Sorry that you can't trust people with good taste. Whatever.
Yeah. So moving on to the next fun piece of movie news. I like how like basically we've got this organized like the terrible movie news first, and then we'll move on to like some good meaty news.
Listen, if people give you the hey, you want the bad news first or the good news first? You always take the bad news first because the good news will make it better at the end.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So next section of I guess bad news. Walt Disney Pictures president Sean Bailey believes that the live action Lion King can be transformed into a Star Wars like saga. To which I say, sure. If you're going to start that saga with episode 1 starring Jar Jar Binks. Like, Jar Jar's a good character. I like what they did with Jar Jar throughout the course of Star Wars. But if you were to just make it completely like how we first saw Jar Jar in episode 1, and that's the entire saga, that would be a live action Lion King saga.
Kids, don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. They make you do a live action Lion King Star Wars like saga.
Yeah. Like, no, we don't need to do that.
I can't see, like, my biggest issue with The Lion King, and why, if you go back and you watch our marquee of the live action Disney movies, why I put it all the way down at F, is because it loses all the heart. It is soulless. The remake is soulless. There's no heart. There's no, like, the tech is good. The movie is beautiful looking. There's a lot of positives in terms of the technical filmmaking side of things with it, and just with how the movie looks. But from the it's been made by a human standpoint, Lion King, the live action Lion King movie, feels about as close as we've ever gotten to an AI generated movie. And that's a pretty scary deal, because it made over $1 billion. So the way I'm looking at this is that Disney is seeing over $1 billion from it, and they're going, we can do many stories in the Lion King world. We can do many stories of Pride Rock and the surrounding plains. And I'm like, not if they're going to be exactly like Lion King. It's bad enough we're getting a sequel, or I guess a prequel for Mufasa. It's bad enough we're getting a prequel. And we don't need a 12 movie, saga of different stories. We don't need a Star Wars story of Lion King. We barely needed that for Star Wars. We don't need a Rogue One for Lion King. We don't need no.
I like this. What Lego's doing here. The Mufasa's adventures as a cub with Jar Jar is that. Okie day, baby Mufasa. You see the kingdom, okie day? Over there is the bomb bad shadowy place. It's the elephant graveyard, okay?
You should be no one going there.
No be going there.
Bad bombing.
Go play with your brother's car.
Oh, Maxi Big, the circle of life.
Good job, Lego. Anyways,
we don't need this.
Like, just don't. I know Walt Disney Pictures probably is not going to stumble upon this live stream that currently has 6 viewers right now. It's not really on Walt Disney's radar, I should say, but please don't. Okay? Okie day?
Look, I would get behind this news story if they were saying we're going to do it in animation, like the actual, like the original. We're going to do a saga off of the original Lion King in that same style of animation. We're just going to go to town on it. Sure. I still don't know that that's necessary, but I'm more for that than I am for this.
Yeah.
So, listen, we're going to go to the theater. We're going to see Mufasa, and it's going to end up being really good, because they're going to realize, oh, we should actually make these animals show feeling of some sort. And it's going to be fantastic. We're going to completely turn our tune on it. And we're going to be like, all right, fine. Give me a Star Wars like saga. And I'm going to hate myself for that.
Yeah. All right. Now to actual movie news that we're not making fun of. In Kick Me While You're Down news, SAG-AFTRA members have decided that they have voted in favor of a strike should their demands not be met at the end of this month. That's right. While we are still currently dealing with the writer's strike that is still going on, now the actors also are about to strike on top of it.
Yeah.
So good job, studios. In positive news on this, the Directors Guild did get their deal signed, and they will not be striking. So good job, directors, for getting everything you wanted.
Seems like an odd time.
Yeah. Why?
Because I feel like I don't even begin to pretend that I understand the whole how unions and all that works, especially how unions and everything works amongst the Hollywood studios and that kind of those circles and everything. So I can't. My pathetic pea on human brain goes, why couldn't directors and actors? Why can't they all just go, hey, we have our demands, but we also will not stop striking until you also give the writers their demands. I don't know if that's a thing that unions can do, if they can stand with each other in that regard or not. But I don't know. All this seems interesting. Like, first of all, if that's the case, then maybe directors should have held out a little bit longer. I don't know if that's a thing that unions can do or not.
They weren't asking for enough.
They weren't asking for enough for like the writers and everything too. But at the same time, it's weird. It's a weird situation for the directors to walk out as going, hey, we're good. Y'all have fun. We're good over here. Meanwhile, the actors are like, yeah, we're thinking about going on strike ourselves too. And here's the thing. I think because the studios have not kept up with the actuality of what they should be giving these people who work in these different circles. I think absolutely these strikes are 100% necessary.
Yeah.
Streaming has changed everything, with everything regarding around streaming and all that, and how all that works, the new system and everything that brought on. I 100% think that if they weren't given what's fair in conjunction with the whole new streaming system, then you should absolutely be going on strike. Both actors, writers, everybody who is affected in some way should be going on strike if they haven't been given what they should have been given. I think yes, for us consumers, for us common folks, this is going to delay, stuff that we want to see, stuff that we're looking forward to seeing in the theater or on TV. But at the same time, it's on the studios at this point. The ball's in their court.
Mm-hmm.
You want the actors to go on strike too? Because you got a lot to deal with the writers right now, because you're already not creating new content because they're not writing you new content. Now you're not going to have anyone to act in the new content once you agree with the writers too.
Studios, let me ask you a serious question. Are you trying to see if you can make a movie with no humans involved whatsoever? Like, what's next after this? The caterers? Are you going to tell Tom Hanks he has to bring a sack lunch to set every day? Are you going to say that to Mr. Hanks? Really? Actually, Tom Hanks is a bad example, because who knows where he lies on this debate at all. Pick another actor. Substitute another actor for that name.
Right.
But yeah, I know the whole thing we've been talking about, AI or whatnot. Are they actually trying to see if they could get AI to write and act movies? Is that the level that we're at now?
I mean, you can do robot voice. They kind of did AI a little bit with Luke Skywalker's voice in Book of Boba Fett, just to try to recapture young Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Outside of doing just animated projects that were written by AI and are voiced by a computer, that really limits you. Let's be honest. I know computers can come up with a lot of things. It's really limiting. Not that animation isn't cinema. It is. But if it's your only form of cinema, you're getting really limited. Yeah.
So my other question on this, and this is a question that's coming from the viewing audience point of view, as Cutter's saying here, Dead Reckoning Part 2 just shut down production due to the strike. What's that going to do for, say, Beyond the Spider-Verse, which I feel like at this point, since it's supposed to be coming out March of next year, which I feel like that's probably going to get pushed back for other reasons. I feel like that movie's already done being made. That should be in some kind of a post-production cycle, but Haley Steinfeld's come out saying she hasn't recorded any vocals for it yet. So
I think that movie's been written, and I think that they've kind of solved a lot of the pre-production, how are we going to make it look, what are we going to do different, all that kind of stuff. I think that one really is just hey, we need to pass this on to the voice actors to record their lines, and then we can put it all together, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. We can start animating it and whatnot.
Yeah, which granted, I mean, I don't think it actually would take that long to do the voice recording. I know there may be like a couple of takes, like, hey, could you do that with a little more anger? Say that again. Oh, I want my hot dog. Perfect. Like, it might be something like that, but
it is interesting because she also said that it took her like 5 years to record all her lines for Across the Spider-Verse, which the only reason I think it took that long is because that movie, in conjunction with Into the Spider-Verse and what they want to do with Beyond the Spider-Verse, there's just a lot that went into just making sure the entire trilogy is kind of tightly packaged.
Yeah.
So that might be why it took 5 years for them to have them record everything.
And then you also had a pandemic in there.
There's that too.
Yeah. So yeah, possibly. But yeah, they've got until I think it's like June 30th, I believe. Yes. So the current Screen Actors Guild contracts, this is for TV and theatrical, those contracts expire at midnight on June 30th. At that point, they will move forward with striking. So you got until June 30th to fix those contracts and renegotiate that. In the meantime, you still also have to deal with the writers and their demands as well. So
I don't know.
Studios, y'all are going to be busy for this month.
I heard something. I don't know if this was true. I just heard it in passing. I don't know if it's like an actual rumor or what, but from what it sounded like, based on what I heard, it sounded like Netflix is the one that's kind of holding everything up right now in terms of the AMPTP and striking a fair deal with the writers, with the WGA. And there's just a lot that Netflix doesn't want to let go of the AI stuff. They want to be able to explore AI in all of its many facets in their future, and they don't want to let go of all of that stuff. So if that's true, again, that's just a passing rumor I heard. I don't 100% know if it's completely accurate, but if that's true, on top of everything else that Netflix has done recently, can we get Blockbuster back?
No, Netflix tried that also. They had to cancel that one as well. They had like the last Blockbuster was like a TV show, and they canceled it after like the first season. So yeah, no, Netflix messing with that one also. Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully that, again, just as like what we were saying with the writers' strike, hopefully this works itself out for the writers, for the actors. Glad it worked out for the directors, so. Anyways, especially like since some of those directors actually have direct control over like their studios. For example, like Steven Spielberg is one of the heads of Amblin Entertainment.
Yeah. We're talking about like distribution, though. Amblin doesn't distribute; they create.
Yeah. So, anyways, speaking of directors, coming out not this week but next week is The Flash. Director Andy Muschietti has been rumored to be potentially in the short list for directing Batman: Brave and the Bold from James Gunn.
Interesting.
So I haven't seen The Flash yet. Chris, I don't think you haven't seen any of Andy Muschietti's movies because he's pretty much only done like horror beforehand.
He did the 2 It movies. What else has he done?
I can't remember before then. He's done like mostly horror.
I don't think so. Yeah, if he's done mostly horror, then I haven't pretty much watched anything by him.
Mama.
Nope.
Yeah, pretty much Mama. He did a short film and then did a live or a full feature length version of it, and then It and It Chapter 2. I liked It. Not a big fan of Chapter 2, but the problems that I have with It Chapter 2, I don't think are the director's fault. I think like the number one biggest issue that I have with it is they just waited too long to start making It Chapter 2. They really should have done It and It Chapter 2 back to back. But that's more of a studio decision than it was the director.
Yeah.
The younger kids got too old, and that just got too weird. The story, the writing, the flashbacks, all that was just, it was not handled very well. But the first It was really good. And then, like a lot of people are saying, as we're getting the reviews, the out of theater reactions for Flash, a lot of people are saying it's a good superhero movie. It's not the best superhero movie like people were saying like a couple of months ago or so off of like CinemaCon.
It's life-changing.
Yeah, no, it's not. Knock it off, you Zack Snyder stans. I
don't know if they're for the movie.
Yeah, but it's getting good positive reviews, which I like. I've been wanting to hear that this movie actually is going to be good. So eager for the Flash. But yeah, I'm gonna base probably my opinion on how well I could think Andy Muschietti could do a Batman movie off of watching him direct a Batman movie.
Yeah, but two Batman movies in one.
So yeah, I don't know. Like from what we've seen just of the Flash trailer, I think he's got a good eye for this colorful superhero world. Especially because a lot of this Flash movie does look like it's borrowing from like the timeline of like the Man of Steel, and then also incorporating a little bit of the Tim Burton the Tim Burton Batman universe as well. So seeing a director that's able to mash the look and feel of two other directors, I think is a huge task. And from what it sounds like, he's doing a very good job. If he's able to do that, then I'll have complete faith in him as far as being able to handle what's probably likely going to be a more comic booky Batman movie, probably closer to the feel of Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
What I'm more curious about is it's got the title Batman Brave and Bold. Was that actually the title of a specific comic book run? I know it was the title of a cartoon. So are we looking at a specific storyline adapted from those comics, or are we doing like an Age of Ultron type thing where we're taking the title because we need a title for the movie, and we might have elements from that comic book run, but it's not really going to be that exact story?
Yeah. So the Batman Brave and the Bold comics, as far as I remember, was just a comic book series showcasing Batman working with other DC superheroes. It's very much like the old Scooby-Doo Where Are You, where the Mystery Inc. Scooby-Doo gang was joined by some other pop culture figure every week, like the Harlem Globetrotters or Abbott and Costello or Batman and Robin. Yeah, like that kind of a scenario. Which that one was fun, the Batman and Robin, because you got to hear Casey Kasem do both Robin's voice and Shaggy in the same episode.
So that's an interesting concept, which that right there tells me why Andy Muschietti is being eyed by James Gunn right now for this, because for all intents and purposes, he's doing a Batman Brave and Bold movie with the Flash. Yeah. In which case you have Batman working with Flash, and Supergirl. Yeah. And Batman. So, it looks like it looks like basically that kind of movie. So yeah, I think this is going to give us the Flash movie is going to give us a good insight into whether or not he has the chops. I'm sure he's got the chops. Whether he's got the heart behind or the passion in order to be able to create a good Batman movie, especially one where Batman is working with other heroes, which by the way, that's kind of the Batman movie I've been wanting. I don't necessarily need a Batman movie that also has other DC superheroes in it, but I want a Batman movie where the Batman that's in that movie is the kind of Batman that does work with other DC heroes, Like, we've had the Dark Knight movies. I can't see that Batman working with a Superman. I don't see Superman existing in that universe. We have the Batman, the Robert Pattinson. Again, I don't see like a Superman or a Green Lantern or a Wonder Woman existing in that universe. I want a Batman where I can see a Superman and a Wonder Woman and an Aquaman and a Green Lantern and Flash. I want to see a Batman where all of those superheroes can exist in the same universe. That's the Batman I want, and that looks like the Batman we're gonna get.
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm so not into the Robert Pattinson Batman. That was, I've said it before, that we saw that was what the Christopher Nolan gave us, the dark, live, as close to realistic Batman. I don't know why we needed to make this Robert Pattinson Batman. It doesn't serve any purpose. It doesn't show us anything new. Just get rid of it. I know they're going to make a sequel to it because it made a lot of money, but I would say get rid of it and let's focus on this Batman Brave and the Bold. And this is going to be like the only Batman franchise that we have to follow going forward. And everything is going to be in support of that franchise.
I don't 100% agree with that because James Gunn did point out that that movie and the Joker movies are Elseworlds stories, in which case they can coexist. Which, that's fine. If they can coexist, if y'all can make those movies and make the other Batman movies that are going to support the entire DC world, sure, why not? I don't necessarily think we needed another dark, brooding, street level, grounded, realistic, gritty Batman movie again. But for specifically for the Batman, I've seen it, a couple times now. It's a good movie. It is a good movie. It is actually a good Batman movie. As long as we're looking at Batman like the same kind of Batman as we had in like the Nolan movies. But that's kind of how I have to view that. Is I'm looking at it within a bubble. I'm not looking at it like trying to compare it to a Batman that we should get. It's just, this is a Batman movie that we do have. Watch it. Do you like it? Cool. Let's go watch the other Batman movie later.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. So we've had plenty of Batmans.
The cat beckons.
Good Lord, can you hear her?
Through your computer.
She's outside my door and she's still that loud.
She is beckoning.
Yeah. Anyways, we've had multiple Batmans, all of different ilk, I guess, whether you like them, you don't like them, whatever. Now it's time to move on to the new Captain America.
Yay.
So yes, it was announced earlier this week, I guess, that the fourth Captain America movie was going to be changed from it was being changed from New World Order to Brave New World, which I guess makes sense. New World Order sounds more like they're coming in. Captain America's coming in and he's just going to take over everything, like one of those like dictator type of things. I know what's better for you. I see the future. I know all. Whatever the thing that Tony Stark, I guess, quote, or no, that's not Tony Stark. That's Hawkeye. The futurist is here. He sees all. He knows what's good for you, whether you know it or not. So yeah, that's what it sounds like New World Order would be doing with Captain America. So I'm actually kind of glad they changed the name, but Brave New World gives me all kinds of ideas of like, is this gonna have like any kind of allusions to Aldous Huxley's Brave New World story? So are we gonna see some kind of like a dystopian future created within this story? And how does that fit going on with Sam Wilson now taking over as Captain America? And then him bouncing off of his amazing speech at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. How is all this going to align? And then also we're getting images of like the new suit, which we saw the old suit for like half a TV show episode and we're already changing it. Like that was a good looking suit. Give us that suit.
Well, so from what I can tell is that we are going to get that same suit again for a good chunk of the movie, but then he's going to end up getting a new suit like you see in like any other superhero movie.
It looks like it's changing very similar to Captain America's strike suit at the beginning of Winter Soldier.
Kind of. The other thing with this too is that, we're also going to have a lot of the gamma radiated crew is hanging out in this movie too, with the leader kind of being the bad guy. You're going to have Hulk is probably going to make an appearance, I believe. And, She-Hulk is supposed to be showing up at some point. Obviously, we know from the She-Hulk show, Hulk's son is a player now. And, of course, with the recasting, the obviously necessary recasting of General Ross to Harrison Ford, we've already seen some set pics of Harrison Ford chilling out on set with some ripped jeans. So, there could be some stuff there, maybe, possibly.
I wonder if Red Hulk likes pancakes.
I made some pancakes if y'all want some.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Fuck yeah, I want some pancakes.
Mash some pancakes down his throat. So, there's going to be a lot of like the gamma radiated stuff going on here. Again, I think a lot of this is leaning towards what is the leader's plan. And then I think, of course, we're going to have some tie into the Thunderbolts going on off of that, which that's the side of the MCU I'm kind of interested in diving back into. We haven't been there in a minute, I think, which is the Captain America side of things. Obviously, we have
like grounded.
Yeah, we haven't been there since before Endgame. Maybe a little bit of it with Black Widow, but I really want to get back into like the Winter Soldier kind of feels and everything. And I think we're going to get that with that movie, especially with like the fun. It's got a fun new tie. I think also, Brave New World also has a more fun, like, oh, this is going to be more exciting kind of movie, more adventurous than New World Order, which sounds kind of dark and depressing. So a little bit of a facelift, so to speak, with the name change.
Speaking of facelifts, we're getting old over here. It's going to be time to bring up the jowls a bit, get rid of those crow's feet or whatever they're called or whatever, get some sleep, bags under the eyes, just lift everything up and make sure that like the gray hairs that are popping up in my beard, maybe like get some Just for Men and color those away. I don't know. We'll see. But man, we're getting old. We're getting so old to the point I can't hear things anymore. It is hard to joking aside, I literally cannot hear things. I know I just went to like this extremely loud concert and I was complaining about these woo girls behind me the whole time that have pretty much killed my hearing for today. But in general, it feels like I can't hear things. Or at least it feels like that if your movie is not sound mixed properly.
Or not sound mixed properly, but not being played correctly because y'all didn't tell the theaters what level to play it at.
Yeah. So going on to, this is our main topic. Over this past weekend, I know we were talking about this earlier, Spider-Verse came out and a lot of people reported not being able to hear certain aspects of this movie. Primarily, a lot of it looks like it's focused just on Spider-Gwen talking at the very beginning of the movie. Other people have complained about other parts of the movie, especially like either action or music heavy portions. It's hard to hear some of the characters, especially the character of Hobie Brown, voiced by Daniel Kaluuya. It's just really hard to be able to hear him over some of the music or the action or whatever's going on in that scene. And so we've had since last Thursday. We went to go see this movie. Our movie theater had this issue, and it was bad. Yeah. It was the first thing that pops into my head when I hear bad sound mixing like that is, is my hearing going out? Am I getting old enough now to where I'm not going to be hearing certain things, or I'm going to have to strain? I'm going to have to start looking into hearing aids. I'm always questioning myself before I start blaming other people of anything. I'm like, okay, what part of this do I have control over? Can I fix? I'm just getting old. I really can't fix that. But at least coming to terms with knowing that, that's like 50% of the battle right there.
You can end up being like our father and go get the headphones for the movies every time you go see a movie.
Slova made a G.I. Joe joke in there too. I didn't even realize I said that. Just knowing it. Knowledge is 50% of the battle or whatever.
Yes.
So that was the first thing. So that's what I'm thinking to myself while watching it. And then I'm looking over at him, and even he is struggling with trying to hear it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe it's genetically disposed in our family that we just lose our hearing. And so nothing wrong with the movie. It's just the two of us are just not hearing it. Which is a weird thing to be thinking when you're in the middle of a movie that you're excited to watch and you can't hear it. So you're needing to focus on the movie. Instead, your mind is over here thinking about why you can't hear it and all the rabbit hole of possibilities that could lead to. That's not what you want when you go see a movie. You want to watch the movie, focus on the movie, and not get taken out because of it. So that was the first complaint. We left the theater, talked to the management, couldn't figure it out because at that time we went to like the very first showing we could get to. So that was roughly around, given time zones, that was roughly around the same time that most of the general public were able to go see it. So there hasn't been reports on the internet yet of bad sound mixing. I couldn't find anything. So my first thought was going to the theater.
Yeah.
The theater, though, reinstated something that I feel like we already knew, that the sound mixing comes from the studios. The theater doesn't have like an equalizer where they can pump up the vocals and put down the music. The theater can't do that. Whatever is sent to them by the studios is what they play. They have control over like their speakers and the sound equipment in the theater, and that's about it. But even adjusting some of those may not solve that kind of an issue. So that was what we were looking at dealing with. Came home. It took us a little bit of a while to record the review for it because I was just really upset that there was a good portion of that movie I did not hear. For example, I've seen videos since then, and I'm not spoiling anything here in case you haven't seen it or you just didn't hear it also, but there's a machine that they use in this movie that is able to trace who you are basically based off of the DNA of the spider that bit you type of thing. I didn't understand any of that when we were watching it in the theater. That whole discussion of that one crucial part of the movie completely eluded me. Yeah. So by the time the movie's over, I'm like, okay, I kind of got an idea as to what happened. I just don't know the why. And I guess the why will be answered in the next movie. Not realizing the why was answered in this movie and I just didn't hear it. So something like that is super crucial as to your enjoyment of the movie. I still enjoyed the movie. I still rated it at 8 out of 10. And I know we were saying in our review that we're not taking the sound issue into account with our ratings. I feel like at least in mine, I felt like I kind of had to just a bit, just because I couldn't hear the movie. I would have appreciated the movie had I known that detail, and because I couldn't hear it, I didn't know of that detail. I can't fully rate that movie knowing that detail or not. So that was a major issue. And then come to find out since then, who was it? Was it Phil? Yeah, Phil Lord.
Yeah,
posted on Twitter like these like stickers. I don't know if if these stickers were a real thing or if they were just like as a joke, but giving these stickers out to theaters that would tell the projectionists in the booth, like, you need to crank up your volume up to 7. Apparently the studio's volumes work on a scale 1 to 10, 10 being the loudest. And it seems like theaters generally keep theirs at about a 6 is what it looks like I've read. And this is saying that y'all need to crank it up to 7 so it can be fully enjoyed. So first thing is, why did the studios depart from the normal? Like, why change that? If the normal is that theaters are going to play it at a 6, then your sound mixing and everything that you're creating for this movie should be attuned to the fact that theaters are going to play at a volume level of 6. Why would you change that? And then why wouldn't you tell the theaters this? Because the theaters don't know. They can't read your mind. So the theaters had no idea that they needed to crank up the volume.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue right there. And I think that's the biggest drop ball of this entire thing. It isn't that the studio decided to do it at a different level. I think when it comes to having complete creative freedom over your product, you should be allowed to do kind of whatever you want creatively with the product. And if they did that, from what I read, they were doing it for a more dynamic range in their audio. I'm not even going to pretend to know to act like I understand that aspect of everything, but I'm taking their word. I'm taking them at their word that, doing it at that level creates a different dynamic sound quality difference or something with the audio.
We don't have to worry about that on our YouTube channel. So
Sure. So that's the reason why I did it. My problem is that if the movie requires the theaters to present the movie in a certain way, then along with the file of the movie, all the theaters should receive a notice of some sort in their inboxes to say, hey, this film needs to be played like this with this audio level, this visual quality, this audio level, whatever the studio requires for the movie to be presented as they intend it to be presented, they should be informing the theaters to play the movie like that. And from what we can tell, the studio just didn't do that. And that is a huge dropped ball. Now, if the studio did do that and no theater agreed to it or decided to do it, I don't even think that's a thing, because I think if the studio did do it, a large amount of theaters would have been like, oh, okay, well, we'll play it at that level then.
Yeah, we've heard of theaters that it played perfectly fine. People were able to watch the movie with no complaints of sound quality, but there are a lot that did, which leads to the second drop ball of this: the theater themselves. I know for the most part, most of the theaters that we go to in the Austin area, and I have to assume this is the same for all theaters, is they generally will have, like, it's probably like the night before. So like we saw the movie on a Thursday, it's probably like a Wednesday night. They do a screening for the employees. So the employees are able to watch the movie if they're interested. So if an employee is wanting to watch Spider-Verse, they can watch it on Wednesday before anyone else sees it. Kind of a perk of working at a movie theater. And therefore, like the movie theaters we go to, we have servers, waiters that are running by, bringing you drinks and food throughout the movie. They're going to be in that room while that movie's playing. They don't need to be walking in during that one crucial moment that's key. And if they haven't seen the movie, it just spoils and ruins the movie for them. So they are allowed to have like an employee screening like the night before. So I get that they have that, but how did y'all not catch this the night before? How did they not see this? Is there no actual quality assurance testing? And I understand movies are long. They're getting longer. We're pushing movies lately that have all been like over 2 hours long, pushing 3 hours. Some of them hitting over 3 hours, Scorsese. So like we're going to have very long movies, and I know that takes time to accurately quality test them all. But there needs to be something set up in play that when you have a movie, test it, play it, make sure it works before the paying audience comes in. That is where I believe a lot of the second part of where the ball dropped on this.
Yeah.
So studios didn't notify the movie theaters, and movie theaters aren't taking any responsibility for being able to make sure that this is covered on their end ahead of time, or at least our theater did. So, and I have to assume, again, I've seen that a lot of people have complained about the sound mixing issues. I would have to assume it's the same for all those theaters as well. They just didn't test it. They didn't pay attention. Need to get on the ball. You've got paying customers that are coming in. They're sitting there. Not only are they paying for the tickets, which are getting more expensive, they're paying for food or concessions. And we all know those are extremely expensive. It's not a cheap day out to the movies. It's now more of an event, and you need to make sure that everything you have control over is 100% on point. So yeah, this is a drop ball for both the studios and the theater.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, luckily, we were still able to watch and enjoy the movie.
I'm looking forward to it being on streaming though, where I can watch it at home.
Yeah, and obviously there's been some clips that have floated around on social media that have given us like insight into certain parts that we couldn't hear in the movie. Like, I got to actually hear Hobie Brown say some things on Twitter that I didn't hear in the movie because I couldn't hear anything he was saying. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I like his character now that I can understand what he's saying. But yeah, I mean, luckily, this did not deter us from actually enjoying the movie. It just made it a little bit hard to enjoy the movie-going process.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do look forward to seeing the movie again because of that. Our review is up. Obviously, we really enjoyed the movie. It's currently my number one of the year so far, which, again, we're halfway through the year. At any given point, a new movie could slide into that position. But I have a feeling this is going to be my Top Gun Maverick this year, where I don't know if anything's going to top Across the Spider-Verse for me. So you never know. But yeah, obviously we really liked it. Yeah, it's there was just a whole lot there. Yeah. It does sound like that a lot of the theaters are fixing that issue now. A lot of people are getting to see the movie and actually understanding it, hearing everything.
Yeah,
which is good.
So here's hoping there's no sound issues when we go see Transformers tomorrow.
Right.
Lately, so that Spider-Verse, we've had sound issues with previous movies. Like there was a couple of sound issues with Fast X, at least at the very beginning of that. And I can't remember, did I ask for someone to turn up the volume during that as well?
I don't think so, because it wasn't all the way through.
That one was really at the beginning. You couldn't understand what Jason Momoa was saying.
Spider-Verse was kind of all the way through.
Yeah.
And the problem is that we did ask them to turn it up twice and they didn't do anything. And that's the big problem too for anybody running theaters out there. If your patrons say like, hey, we can't hear it. I understand like the process where maybe they would require multiple patrons in that theater to say something before they would actually do it. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I feel like if someone's saying, hey, we can't hear anything they're saying, you probably should at least bump it up a little bit just to appease.
Yeah. And that's so that was a point that I had is like, not everyone who goes to see a movie is of the same mindset of how to enjoy a movie.
Yeah.
There were probably a lot of people in that theater, especially kids or whatever, that have no movie watching identity. I would say they are not used to how a movie should sound, look, and feel. So they just go in and whatever's up on that screen and playing through the speakers, that's it. And that's what they get to enjoy, and then they go home. No problem. While those of us that enjoy movies a lot, we have a better understanding of like, hey, I should actually be hearing this movie. This isn't the movie trying to like hide something from us. This isn't like a plot detail or whatever. Like, well, maybe that's what Gwen was saying at the beginning. Oh, surprise! If you were able to hear her, you would have known. No, this isn't like something like that. Yeah. This is, you just can't hear the movie, and that's not correct. Problem is movie theaters, they have no way of telling that. We complain to the wait staff twice that it needs to be pumped up in volume. The problem is the wait staff doesn't know who we are. They don't follow us on our YouTube channel or anything. They have no idea what level of moviegoers that we are. If when we go to a movie, we say, hey, you need to bump up the volume, chances are you need to be bumping up the volume. We're not like, I'm hard of hearing because I'm getting older and I can't hear the darn movie. Well, you're just an old man. Sorry about that. I'm not touching the volume. That's very likely what they probably look at that. Especially because I was getting upset like, hey, I can't hear it. Turn it up. Nope.
Yeah. For the 14th time, would y'all turn up the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be something. Obviously, this being a studio situation mostly, it's not really necessary for for us to harass a theater for the volume just being bad for the movie to begin with. But this will be something that I will keep in mind if we go see like Transformers tomorrow and the volume is low on Transformers and we have to say something to wait staff. I could imagine us taking on that Karen name and pulling aside the manager and being like, this is the third movie now we've had to tell you guys to turn up and you haven't been listening.
Yeah, just like we can't listen to the movie. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, because again, there's a little bit of responsibility the theaters need to take in these cases. So hopefully they do.
It's an interesting discussion. But regardless, Spider-Verse. Hey, if you haven't seen it yet, you should go see it. It's a great movie.
Yeah. Just make sure your theater is actually playing it at the right volume.
Yeah, just double check with the staff first. Hey, are you playing this at level 7? Because this is what everyone on social media has been saying. This movie needs to be played at the volume level 7 so we can hear it.
Including one of the producers.
Yeah, including the producer of the movie who literally posted on social media that all theaters should be posting it at level 7. So.
And that was like the day after. Again, why wasn't this caught before? Why is it the day after? Oops.
Yep.
Sorry, guys. Whatever.
Anyway.
Anyways, that's going to do it for the show tonight. Join us next week as we get one more week older. Anyways, the Transformers review, spoiler free, will be up tomorrow, so make sure you check that out tomorrow evening. June 30th will be the marquee, where we're going to be tier ranking Harrison Ford action and sci-fi movies, which will include Indiana Jones, Star Wars, and a bunch of other action movies that he's been a part of. Jack Ryan movies will be in there, I believe. So so stay tuned for that. That should be a lot of fun. Otherwise, make sure you follow us at the Cinefanatics on YouTube, on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and youtube.com/@RobertAdamsMLP.
And you can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/ChrisAdamsMLP.
Anyways, thank y'all for watching this. Everyone who was here live, we appreciate each and every one of you. If you are watching this on a replay, let us know your thoughts, feelings, opinions down below in the comments. While you're down there, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and again, come back and join us for our next video, including that review up tomorrow evening. Otherwise, that's going to be it for tonight. Thank y'all for watching. We will see y'all next time. Goodbye.
Bye.